I've got 2 jobs today, just 2 jobs. Well, actually, I just hung a new flag. That's not a job, it's an honor and a privilege. But my job is to fill that container right there, whether it's the first job or the second job. Nonetheless, it is my job. And one job entails digging this tree, putting it in that container, and securing it. And I'm taking the entire tree to where you see there. Yesterday I came and cut the top out of that, and you can see the bits lying on the ground over there. The reason I want to take all of it is I want to use the bulk of this for various other projects. I had thought to leave this in the ground for this season and do my projects, but I need to clean this mess up. I need to clean it up. Absolutely. And so, if I do get around to it within the next few days or this season, this tree is coming out. That's 4 inches at the base. You can see that. It'll be cut back. And this right here. And that's the last of the small leaf trident maples in this area. And if I do decide to dig this out, I'll cut part of this top back where the failed air layers are. There might be some roots in there, but not enough for my liking. And so I dig this up, but I cut this back maybe 24 inches or so, 18 to 24 inches, and the rest I'll just have to lose. I hate that, but I've got to keep it moving. I've got so many things I want to do. 2 projects. That's not one of them, but I'm showing you what I want to do in the meantime. At any rate, I want to repot this. I want to do root work on this, which that was an air layer about 4 years ago now, and it's been growing in this pot ever since then. I chainsawed the top out last season, and it's putting on some good calluses. It had seeds on the branches. This is starting to develop really nicely, and I'm happy with that. I thought to do a repot on this Naruto, but I know I'm not going to get around to that. And as a by the way, this is the first time I've taken trident maple seeds straight from the tree, put it in a container, and they're sprouting out. This is an elm tree, but these are trident maple seedlings that are coming up now. Actually, there may be in there mixed some Japanese green maples also, because I took this tree, which that is the air layer off of the top of it, and I dug it up, but this had seeds on it. That garbage truck would come out here right now, but anyway, that had seeds on it. So anyway, that stump and this here is the one in the same tree, and I took some of the seeds from it and put it in there, and some of the seeds off of that trident maple and put it in there also. I might dig this up again and reset it in the ground, cut back some of the heavier branches at the top. This will continue to grow. Cut that back, But that's a tree that I grew over in that spot also. Lots of pine litter, and I also added mycorrhizal material to it. And I want to repot this and the other tree also. Those two trees, by the way, are the very same tree branch that I cut off. But anyway, that's one job that I have to do, or like to do, or want to do. I'm expecting lots of rain today. Speaking of air layers, like the material that I spoke about, the failed air layers, these are air layers that I took and put in the ground. That also, this happened the year before I put this one in. And so I'll start air layering bits and pieces off of this and making my projects. I'm getting ready to clean this up. I dug out the rosemary bushes yesterday, and I'll be putting root over rock and Shohin trident maple material in here, stuff that I'll be growing for those purposes. So anyway, I got to get in here, cut back this plum tree, reset my photo background. Lots of work, steady, steady. And my other job, should I choose to accept it, if I don't, it won't get done, is to repot this. My A-frame trident maple. Okay, so I'm going to put it into a bonsai pot is the thought and the idea. This thing is all put together. This branch coming up here, this part here, is actually fused in to this tree. I had another tree here that I fused in and then removed it, as this was on a rock and the rock slipped down when I went to dig it up. So it didn't work as a root over rock, so I left it as this A-frame, and then I fused in this to bolster the root base. Well, with not being around all the time, all of this settled a bit and left that exposed, but the main root is there, and that's fine. So what I'm going to do is, for right now, I'm going to get this into a bonsai pot, and I'll enjoy it for a year or two, and as things progress, I may cut this right across here, remove this for a different planting, and then use this, and I'll have a rock that I'll cut and carve to fit right in here. This branch will remain with this to fit right in here, and probably the rock will come this direction at an angle at the apex. But anyway, right now, take this out of the pot, put it in a bonsai pot, and be happy with that for a year or so. It rained really well last night. So anyway, bonsai pot, bonsai pot. Got that. And if push comes to shove, I can use that mica pot. Okay. I kind of measured this out, and that this pot and that pot should be enough, or even this mica pot. And well, that faked me out. I just glanced across there and I saw this pot from here to back there. That does not work. But anyway, I've got a few pots to use. And if push comes to shove, I could always make a concrete pot. So anyway, for right now, those are the two projects. Dig the one tree up out of the front, pot it, secure it. Remove this tree from the pot and pot it up into one of these bonsai pots. That's it.
Stay back. Don't get too close. Make sure Mr. Hearn sees you coming. He's working.
Okay, we're going to try this again. And okay, I did a pretty good job of setting down my flatware at the base of that, and so I've just got to trim these bits and pieces up, and I'll be able to move this into the pot. That's a huge tree, but that's what I'm working with. Now, I'm gonna obviously turn the camera off until I get this cut up. I'll have to break out my chainsaw to cut the edges. These are like 3, 4 inches, 2 inches, 1 inch, 1 inch. So I need something heavier than this Sawzall. Well, actually, Sawzall is fine, but unfortunately, I don't read. I just grab and go. So I just grab these, and the blades on this packet are 8 to 12 teeth per inch, TPI. And so these are finer blades. I should have grabbed blades that were fewer. Fewer, and the teeth would have been coarser. Well, 1, 2, 3. I think there's another blade around here somewhere. That's the finer blade. But anyway, and of course, all of this is, these are still good because that's how deep the blade went to cut. And this was above the soil. You can see there, you can see the color of that. So this is the cutting surface, and they wear out really quickly. So anyway, let me cut this up and then I'll drag it over to the pot for potting and securing. And there we have it. And here we have the tree root ball cleaned up, and you can see right here, this is the offcast from that root. Now, this was the tile that was placed there. So that's what, 18 inches? See, it was 12, yeah, 12 inches or so, thereabouts. So, and that made that root base pretty flat. That's just some of the local weeds. But again, if this hadn't been placed underneath this, I would have had more thick, heavy roots like this, because as you can see, that tree is pretty tall, and I've even cut part of that off already. And that's 3 inches, 4 inches, about 4 inches going that way, 2.5 inches that way, 1.5 to 3 inches that way. But the trunk itself, or the root itself, is pretty thick. So, and here's the hole that it was in, and you can see that's pretty shallow. Can't really tell very much, but perhaps that helps. That's kind of shallow, okay? And you got surface roots emanating out kind of high up on the surface. Well, that's a old root, and this is one of the heavy roots here. But again, if I had to try to cut roots in the center of that tree way over here, oh, it would have been the dickens. And I would have needed a lot more of the Sawzall blades. I would have had to dig deeply into the ground away from that, which means excavating all of the roots that came out laterally, horizontally from the tree, and then dig down in the earth and under here. So if you're going to leave a tree in for a good long time, put something underneath that's going to help you in the long run, okay? So now I'm going to lug this tree over to its resting spot and see what I can do with it. Okay. Okay, let's see if this works. I always keep pre-mixed soil in the area, and I buy the mycorrhizome to add to the mix. Boom, bam. Bob's my uncle. If you're wondering what this is, it's a farmer's chopstick. Good for many tasks around the old homestead. Even though I'm pushing that in there pretty hard, I'm being careful not to super compact this soil. So I'm making sure there's still a little bit of give in the soil, and I'll take a smaller device. It. Yeah. And now I can make sure that the smaller spaces are nice and packed. Now, just so you know, just in case you run up against this root falls down and goes down before it hits the edge of the pot. This root is slammed up against the pot. So what do I do? In this case, I'll come in here and I'll cut a wedge out of this area and a wedge over here to allow roots to grow. And I'll make sure the side from the tree is really nice and clean. Okay? This is just happenstance, but since it is what it is, I'm using this to help secure the tree in the pot. I can even take a fastener, run it in there with a washer to help stabilize that. Even though I have this here with this tree, the tree is going to sway and move back and forth. So I'll be taking a steel pipe, sinking it into the ground to secure that. But again, the tree will provide some stability in the case of super high winds. I'd rather the tree rock and move about than to be toppled out of the pot. I didn't want to move it all the way into the back of the property. I'm not into all that heavy work and labor stuff. This is a labor of love, but I don't love to labor. So there you go. All right. You can see that. And you saw me reach up earlier. It was just to cut back a few more branches. I whacked a few the other day, and I decided to cut the top out of this tree down to a certain level. But again, the branches up there will help stabilize the tree in case we get heavy spring winds and rains and such. And again, a normal person would have just cut this back and let it go. Well, I do stuff according to what I see as being fun and interesting, to give me a challenge to get in here and do something different. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is eventually lower this to about here or in this area, and the rest of this I'll take off to use for other projects. The apex, when I cut this out, I wasn't sure if I wanted this to go that way or to come back into this direction at the time, because I saw different movement, you know, in the past. Well, I'm set now. So this is the apex and this is coming off. Okay, so that'll be trimmed and contoured for this angle, and we'll be in here somewhere for the apex. So, and that branch out there will be, most of it will come off for a different project that I have in mind. But anyway, massive trunk, trident maple. So that's about 8-9 inches across that way. If you want to count the nabari through there to there, about 13-14 inches. Oops, I'm sure the camera was offline. So 6, 12, about 13-14 inches that way. Okay. And it's even longer coming across that way. So just a project, something to do to keep me busy and interested in hanging around Northwest Florida. And again, I keep several bags of pre-mixed soil, and you know, I'll mix it up to whatever I'm doing at the time. If I'm doing gardening plants or potted plants that don't need the aggregate in it, then that's what I'll do. And then I'll add my aggregate, be it turfus or crushed lava rock, later. That stuff over there is just what it is, okay? Manure, composted manure, and topsoil, which both, these are cheap stuff out of the big box store. They're pretty much the same as far as consistency goes. That, yeah, it has a little bit more organic material in it, you know, a little bit of animal waste composted perhaps, whereas this probably doesn't. But when you look at them, they're about the same. So I kind of mix them just for the nutrient benefit of that, the blue one. And then I add my, I guess you can say, aggregate material. I have a lot of plants, and I'm not home all the time. You know, I may be here or there. So I need the extra moisture is what I'm getting at, why I use organic material versus strictly inorganic growing medium. Not only that, the growing medium is expensive when you do strictly inorganic, and I've got lots and lots of trees that I'm growing for various reasons. So that's that. And my next project, or my next job that I'm supposed to do, is to repot that one tree in the back. We'll see if I get there. I'm hot and sweaty right now. I'm old and tired. And being watered in. Looking good so far. I've yet to put in the restraining pole, security pole, but I'll get to that shortly. And now off to my next gig. Okay, I'm pretty much set up for what I'm going to do here. I got my Sawzall, my other tools, and as I say, I have pots, different sizes, different shapes. So these are some that I showed earlier. And I have these right here, larger mica pot, and this glazed pot. So if push come to shove, I'll pull one of these and use it. So anyway, gonna start this in just a minute. All right, now to extract this from the pot. This has been in here about 4 years or more, a little more than 4 maybe. And now to break up this root ball. That's a ball of confusion. Yeah. You can't hear it, but the tree is complaining. This is a piece of trident maple. All kinds of talk about abuse and misuse. Be careful. We're in public. Don't say those things to me. I'm the boss of you. I know. This may hurt now, but you'll thank me in the end. Too bad I took the long blade out of the Sawzall. It'd be easy peasy. But this is how I do it. The difference here is between this tree and the other tree is that this was in the ground. But the similarity is, remember, I put the tile underneath the other. And so the roots were contained in a smaller area. And not only that, ha ha ha, look what my Uncle Bob's showing me. Remember, this is not work. It's a labor of love. Well, I wasn't talking to you. I was trying to remind myself of that as my back is hurting. It's kind of humid today. I'm actually sweating, perspiring a little bit as I do this. We're supposed to have up to about 90% chance of rain in this area today. It rained last night. I mean, it rained like goats were falling off the mountain. And it was a nice rain because it washed out a lot of stuff. Hold that thought for a second. Hope I don't get my sequence off. Feather, cut. Feather, cut. Yeah! Cut feather. Yeah, I used to be a barber. I practiced on me until I ran out of hair. Oh. And there might have been 3 in here, but anyway. Never relinquish your weapon. Tell them to get their own. I am thinking about removing this side over here, about right there, eventually. So right now I'm just feeling to see where the roots are. I may not remove all of the material from between here right now, but at least I'll have an idea of where the roots are. Woo-wee. Grandpa shouldn't have to work this hard. Okay, right here on that root, it comes down here and then juts over that way as a solid. I'm not going to remove it today. Well, depending on if I can get it in the pots or not, or one of these pots. Can't put them in pots. I can only put it in a pot because I'm not going to remove it. Well, and you don't want to be using expensive equipment in the dirt here. Today is Friday, isn't it? Yep. I should be off work today. But oh no, somebody told me I got 2 jobs to do today. 2 jobs. Oh, let me turn it this way so you can kind of see what I'm looking at. That's pretty nice and flat. And though I have a few moderately heavy roots, it's not bad at all. Yeah, it's almost like I knew what I was doing. Bonsai is the easiest thing in the world. I just started yesterday. I grew that from a seed. It was the day before yesterday. I had to let it grow, you know. And now look at me. Well, don't look at me when I'm saying because my back's hurting. Now look at me. Woo-wee. This is fun. Okay. I'm just about there. Okay. Now let's see what we can do. Won't fit because I don't want to lose a lot of that. Okay, so that's going to be my container. I'm going to have to whack a little of this, whack a little of that. Let's see. Let's see how she bangs. The weather's changing now. We're gonna have that rain pretty soon. No sense in, I won't say that, no sense in messing with it. Get it done. All too often I see a cup here, a teaspoon here. Get it done. And now, what I'm doing now is actually, I'm tucking my little babies in bed. There are roots at the edges. Now I'm tucking those underneath, making sure that they stay in place. I'm using about, you can see the discoloration about that much. I'm poking it and pressing a little bit. I'm not using a whole bunch of it. Because I don't want to pack this in. And then once I make sure that I've got enough soil filling in the gaps underneath, then along the edges, the margins, I'll compact that, and that presses everything in toward the center, and it helps hold the tree in place, and it helps hold the roots tight also. I don't pack in between here, I pack on the edge. And voila! So now I get that watered in, and only one thing to do after that. I said I had 2 jobs to do today. Well, now I've got another job to clean this mess up, to clean that up, and to water that, and to go eat lunch, and to go watch some Star Trek, and to watch Stargate SG-1, and to say goodbye, and I appreciate you.